Hey Tig Tigers, it's Miss Tremont. I'm here today to talk to you about multi-step problem solving with our 3-digit numbers. Before we can get started though, we need a couple of supplies. Of course, we need a pencil and a piece of paper. If you do not have those, anything to write with and anything to write on. So you may stop this video to grab those items and then we can move on. So before we get started, we are going to review, and we're going to review pictographs. Last week we did bar graphs, and this week we are doing pictographs. Remember, when you see pictograph, pic means picture. So that's always a quick way to remember it. So picture, and we're using that symbol to represent our numbers. Okay, so we're looking at this pictograph, and we're going to complete the tally chart. So we're going to interpret this data. And we've done this before, so just looking over, we have our title, which is bags of food collected, and we have the days of the week. And if we look, we're like, oh, what do these brown bags mean? We can always look at the key, and the key is going to tell us what each bag represents, and that stands for 5 bags. So we can count these going by 5s. So it wants us to complete our tally chart over here. So on Monday, we're going to figure out, well, how many bags of food did they collect? So we're going to count by 5. So we have 5, 10, 15. Okay, so we would easily just come over here, type 15, and I'm going to put that next to Monday. Now looking at Tuesday, how many bags do they have? So remember, each one of these bags represents 5 bags. So Tuesday is 5 bags. Now looking at Wednesday, we have 4 of these bags, so we're going to count by 5s 4 times. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Looking at Thursday, it only has 2 bags. Counting by 5s again, 5, 10. Looking at Friday, as we can tell, had the same amount as Tuesday. We know that Tuesday has 5, or we could just simply count them, 5. Looking at Saturday, we have several bags, so let's count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And then finally, Sunday, we have several bags on here too. So we can do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And so we did just that. We used our pictograph. We completed our tally chart. So we interpreted that data. Okay, after we interpret data, we need to be able to take that data and answer questions. So we have another pictograph here, ice cream cone graph. We're looking at our key. 1 ice cream cone equals 1 student. And we have our grade levels, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and the number of students. So it said, in which grade did the fewest number of students like ice cream cones? When we see our keywords here is fewest. You can underline that. Fewest meaning the least amount. So we can look quickly at our pictograph and we can see the one that has this fewest amount is 3rd grade. Our next question, how many students in 1st grade like ice cream cones? So again, when it says how many, we need to figure out a number. And we're only looking at 1st grade. So these are our keywords. So we're going to look at 1st grade. And we know that our key is 1 student. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So in first grade, 10 students liked ice cream cones. And then finally, in which grade did exactly 6 students like ice cream cones? So we know the amount, but we don't know which grade it is. So we're looking for the grade level, and we want to find the one that has 6 students exactly. So we know it's not first grade because first grade had 10. If we look at second grade, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It could be that one, but let's check third grade just to be sure. We want to check all of our options. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that one's 4. So we know it's not third grade, so we know it is second grade. Okay, so hopefully that was a quick review for you and you enjoyed that. Now we are going to move on to our multi-step problem solving. So here we are, we have a problem. And just like we were doing before with our problem solving, we're just adding an extra step, just more numbers in this. So I'm going to read you the problem. I would like for you to write it out if you can. And then we can help me circle the correct keywords and numbers that you need to use in order to answer your question. So 756 students are in gym class, 328 students went back to class, and 264 students went home. So how many students were left in gym class? So our first thing, we need to analyze our problem, just like we have been doing. So we need to know how many students were left in the gym class. So we need to know how many did we start with? Well, we started with 756. That is our first number, and we're going to put that right here in our first spot. Now we need to figure out what sign are we going to use. Well, if 328 students went back to class, that means they're no longer in the gym. So that means we are going to subtract. So here's our operation we're going to use, and we're going to subtract what number? And that is 328. Okay, we're still analyzing our problem. They went back to class, so 328 would go here in our second spot. Now we still have some more information. 264 students went home. That means that they're no longer in gym class. That means we're going to subtract again. We are going to subtract this number because that's how many went home. So how many students were left in the gym class? Okay, so this is what we're starting off with. This is how many went back to class, and this is how many went home. So we have analyzed our problem. Now we've made a plan. Here's our number sentence. And now we need to solve our problem. So just like you have been previously doing, whenever you have three numbers like this, the best way to practice this is, I'm going to use a Lego, is to separate those numbers. So we only want to look at the first two numbers, okay? That's the only two numbers that we're looking at right now. So we're going to put that in an algorithm form. Making sure that we're lining up our hundreds, our tens, and our ones. So starting always at our ones, 6, and I want to subtract 8. This is a bigger number on the bottom. So remember, when you have a bigger number, when there's more on the floor, you have to go next door. Now we have 16 and we want to subtract 8. And your answer would be 8. Moving on to the tens, 4 minus 2. And then moving on to the hundreds place value, 7 minus 3. Now remember, we got the answer for these first two numbers. Here's our answer. We need to take this answer, bring it up to the top, and we need to subtract our third number. Okay, always paying attention to our sign. So now we have 428 minus the 264. Always making sure we're lining up our hundreds and tens and our ones. Starting at the ones, 8 minus 4. Moving over to the tens, we have 2 and I want to subtract 6. I have a bigger number on the bottom, so I need to go next door. I'm going to take one of those hundreds, and now I'm going to have 12 tens. So 12 minus 6 would be, and then 3 minus 2 would be. And here is our final answer. So now we have analyzed our problem, we made a plan of how we would solve it, and we solved it and put our answer right here. Okay. Moving on to our next problem. It says, the store has 943 games. They sell 436 games. The store receives 285 more games. How many games does the store have now? So again, we're going to look at our problem and analyze it. So we have the store has 943 games. They sell 436 and they receive 285 more. So how many do they have now? So we're going to start with this first number over here. So the store had 943 games. That's what they're starting off. So that first number would go in your first spot. Now, if the store, if they sell 436 games, they no longer have those games. They have given them, not given them, but they have sold them to people who want those games. So we are going to subtract. We are going to subtract the number of games they sold, which is 436. If the store receives 285 more games, that means they were given to them. So they are going to add to how many games they have. So it's very important to look at the words in your word problem to see if you are going to add or if you're going to subtract. So if they receive 285 more, we're going to add that 285. So we have analyzed our problem. Here's our plan of how we would solve that problem. And now we need to actually solve our problem. So again, here we are placing an algorithm form, making sure we're lining up our hundreds, tens, and ones. Always starting at the ones place. If I have 3, I cannot take away 6. I have to go next door, and instead of 4 tens, 3 tens, I move that over to the ones, and now I have 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. 3 minus 3 is 0. And 9 minus 4 is 5. Remember, we're only looking at these first two numbers. So we got that answer, which is 507. We are not finished. Now, this is extremely important. We need to make sure that we are using the correct sign. So I have 507. I'm going to add 285. Adding 285. I'm going to add 5. I'm going to have 12. I don't want to forget about that 1. So 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. Now I'm moving to my hundreds place. 5 plus 2 is 7. Please always remember to look at your sign and make sure you are doing the correct operation. And your answer should be 792. So now we have done subtraction, subtraction. We just did subtraction, addition, where I mixed it up. So make sure that you are careful. Now we're going to try another problem, but you get to create your own. So here is my number sentence, 328. I want you to add 256 and subtract 139. Now you don't have to do the actual problem. You are going to create your own word problem, just like we previously. Your first sentence should have using your first number. Now I want you to make sure that you are adding. Make sure that you're using language where you're going to add the 256. And then we are going to subtract. So your third sentence should be subtracting the 139. Your fourth sentence should be your question. So just like we did earlier, your first sentence will have your first number. Make sure your second sentence is using the correct sign and your second number. Make sure your third sentence is using your sign and your third number. And then your fourth sentence will be your question. Okay? So I can't wait to see what you come up with. Just to practice on your own, and you can let your parents help you check it. If you need any help, you can always contact your teacher. And then when you have finished these little problems on your assignment today, you will be doing 2 more word problems and then creating your own word problem for your assignment. And when you're done, make sure to turn that in to your teacher. Okay? Have a great day, Tigers. I hope you enjoyed this lesson.